Hello, everyone. I am Marilyn Penalosa, Chair of the Community Preservation Committee. This video represents our annual report to town meeting on the status of the Community Preservation Fund and the projects we are recommending to town meeting for approval. Over the next few minutes, I will briefly describe all of the projects. Additional information on specific projects can be found in our annual report, soon to be online at our website and with the town clerk's town meeting materials. The original project applications are on the CPC website as well. I hope you will jot down questions as I go through the projects and email them to us at our town address. We will forward your questions to the project sponsors and post their answers on the CPC website for you to review. Both the website and email address are on the last page of this presentation. Some of these projects may be on the consent agenda, meaning they will be voted on with an up or down vote unless the requisite number of town meeting members request that a project be pulled out for individual consideration. For that reason, I urge you to have your questions answered before we meet. Note that all projects have been reviewed and approved as complying with the Community Preservation Act by our town council. A brief look at what we've done to date. A total over $101 million of community housing, historic resource, open space, and recreational resource projects. Here is the project breakdown by area, presented graphically. As noted in previous reports to you, the large historic resources figure is mainly due to our acquisition and renovation of the community center, the restoration of the Carey Memorial Building, and the restoration and renovation of the Monroe Center for the Arts. These projects make up over half of the historic resource spending, but are projects that enhance our quality of life in Lexington. Also significant is the spending for recreational resources. The Recreation Department is restoring and upgrading its playing fields and hard courts in anticipation of increased usage caused by the new high school project, which will reduce or eliminate access to many facilities. And finally, this year, we are pleased to be able to support several housing initiatives, most notably the newly established Affordable Housing Trust. However, with regard to these CPC community housing investments, we hope that the town meeting will recognize that CPA funding cannot do it alone. Additional sources of funding will be needed for the town to meet its critical housing needs. An important component of our funding for CPA projects is the match provided by the state. Over the years, this share has risen and fallen depending on the number of communities participating in the distribution and the fees collected at the Registry of Deeds. Our match for fiscal year 24 shows a reduction in payments by about $1 million or 42%. Occasioned by a 25% decrease in home sales in 2023 and the virtual disappearance of mortgage financing with rising interest rates, both transactions that generate CPA revenue. Additionally, we saw a reduction in overall state revenues, which prevented any surplus distribution, as has occurred in past years. This slide shows you our financial situation going into town meeting. The beginning balance of our Community Preservation Fund is $11.6 million, based on increased local surcharge receipts, but also reflecting an anticipated further reduction in the matching distribution from the state. The estimated surcharge is based on residential taxes, which last year averaged $518.30 based on an average single-family home value of $1,510,000, and the contributions of our commercial base of $1,420,000, representing approximately 21% of the total. The state match for next year is based on a conservative 15%. If you approve all our recommended projects for fiscal year 25, we will have a balance of $2.3 million to carry over to next year, of which $858,000 is earmarked for either housing, open space, or historic resources, and the remaining $1.45 million is unrestricted. The funds will also be available for funding extraordinary or time-sensitive projects that we might bring to you in a special town meeting in the fall. But before we look to next year's projects, a few words of thanks to the Capital Expenditures and Appropriation Committees and to Carolyn Kosnoff, Assistant Town Manager for Finance, who provide our committee with much needed expertise and advice. And finally, my personal thanks to each of the members of the CPC and our new administrative assistant for their continued dedication and commitment to bringing the very best projects to you for your approval. Now, a look at this year's projects. Article 10A requests $2,300,000 for the rehabilitation of the children's room and large meeting room at the Carey Memorial Library. This amount, to be supplemented with an additional $1.7 million from the general fund, will provide a larger programming space, updated restrooms, safer sightlines, and adequate workspace for the staff in the children's room. It will also enable a full technology update for hybrid programming, a new hearing loop, and better kitchen facilities for the large meeting room. The installation of a new green energy HVAC system for the library's lower level is an important component of the project. Article 10B, $20,000 for archives and records management, is part of a multi-year program to conserve the town's most important historical records and, incidentally, digitize them for greater public access. This year, we will be preserving fire department journals from 1927 to 29, records of marriage intentions from 1850 to 87 and 1889 to 1908, and planning board records from 1918 to 1930. The documents have been determined to be historic resources by the Lexington Historical Commission and eligible for CPA funding. These records provide an important picture of our town's early history and must be preserved to ensure their continued integrity. Article 10C, $545,000 for improvements of the athletic fields at Bowman School, addresses the safety, playability, and accessibility of this well-used field through the complete reconstruction of the Little League field at the school, including the installation of a new irrigation system supporting the natural grass playing field, new backstops, signage, and benches. The project will also improve accessibility to the conservation land at Dunback Meadow. The fields were last renovated in 2008. This project follows similar projects at other athletic fields over several prior years. Article 10D recommends $160,000 for upgrades and replacement of the fitness stations at Lincoln Park. The 15 fitness stations installed along the Teresa and Roberta Lee Fitness and Nature Path are now over 20 years old and are in deteriorating condition, which limits their ability to park users. Without replacement, much of the equipment may have to be removed altogether. Additionally, the new equipment will consist of longer-lasting materials to ensure a greater lifespan. The tennis courts at Valley Road Park are again in need of resurfacing. This $492,000 project, Article 10E, will replace the asphalt surfaces installed only 3 years ago, which, unfortunately, due to their eco-friendly composition, are now failing. The new post-tension concrete surfaces will be guaranteed for 25 years and will enable continued use by tennis and pickleball enthusiasts at this neighborhood facility. Lincoln Field 2 is now at the end of its useful life, and Article 10F seeks $1,145,000 to design, engineer, and complete construction and landscaping site improvements at the field. New walkways, guardrails, and plantings will enhance the site. The project does not include turf replacement, however. The decision has been made to use synthetic turf for the fields, and in accordance with the Community Preservation Act's requirements and recent case law, no CPA funds will be used for the installation of this material or related site preparation. Rather, the remaining $665,000 of the total $1.8 million project cost, if approved, will be appropriated from the general fund unreserved balance. This project is part of a larger planned rehabilitation at Lincoln Park. Field 1 was renovated last year, and Field 3 will be replaced in fiscal year 26. This article, Article 10G for $482,365, will provide funding to the Lexington Housing Assistance Board, or LEXHAB, Lexington's longtime funder of affordable housing, for the preservation and rehabilitation of 26 of their affordable housing units, including kitchen and bath renovations, appliances, furnace and water heater replacements, flooring, new electrical upgrades, new doors, exterior painting to prevent damage, and similar building upgrades. The funding will also cover the decarbonization of 2 of LEXHAB's properties on Mass Ave, including the installation of solar panels and the conversion of gas to electric-fueled water systems at these properties. The project is similar to requests made and approved at 2019, 2022, and 2023 annual town meetings. In addition, this year LexHab is requesting rental assistance to subsidize units with tenants below minimum rent requirements. LexHab tenants pay 30% of their income towards rent, but other than for the few tenants who have rental vouchers, LexHab must subsidize the rents to make the units affordable. Of the total amount requested by LexHab, $115,740 will be allocated to these subsidies. The Lexington Housing Authority has requested $100,000 under Article 10H to replace the siding, windows, and doors of its duplex property on Massachusetts Avenue, a much-needed preservation project to ensure the continued livability of the property. The LHA expects to receive supporting funding from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities in the amount of $35,000 to $70,000 to complete this $150,000 total project, but the exact amount will not be known until later in the spring of 2024. At Special Town Meeting 2022-3, town meeting members authorized the creation of an affordable housing trust as a means of increasing the affordable housing stock in Lexington. Article 10I provides $3,200,000 pre-funding to finance the purchase price, holding, and other costs associated with the acquisition and/or development of new affordable homes. The town continues to face challenges in making competitive offers on properties with the current system of waiting for approval from town meeting, and the funding of our Affordable Housing Trust will allow it to become far more flexible in being able to take advantage of the current real estate market and successfully bid on new properties. Last year's town meeting approved $1,500,000 for similar purposes. On the advice of our town's finance department, several of our larger CPA projects were funded through the issuance of 10-year bonds. Article 10J, CPA debt service, requests the $681,200 payment that will be coming due in fiscal 2025 for the Carey Memorial Building upgrades. With this final payment, all outstanding CPA debt will be fully retired until the issuance of debt for the Monroe Center for the Arts, which was authorized at the 2023 annual town meeting. This request, Article 10K, is for our yearly appropriation of $150,000 to meet the administrative expenses of the Community Preservation Committee, legal fees, appraisals, member dues to the statewide Community Preservation Coalition, and importantly, the salary and benefits of our shared administrative assistant. As always, any funds not actually spent during the fiscal year are returned to the undesignated fund balance of the town's Community Preservation Fund. We hope you will agree that the Community Preservation Act has been and will continue to be an important source of funding for our town, providing welcoming open space, quality affordable housing, enhanced recreational facilities, and preservation of our most important historic resources. We are grateful for your support. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and please contact us if we can provide any additional information and answers to your questions.